Good day, viewers, and welcome to another Onside SA soccer show. Paul is on his way to the UK, and joining us shortly from his studio in Fulham in the UK is our regular correspondent, Stevie Braham. But as always, is our regular super sub and Manning Rangers League winner, Gavin Radford. Morning, Gav.
Morning, Budge. Good to be here again. Some good Champions League soccer during the week.
Yeah, it was.
So Europa tonight, so let's get cracking.
Well, I can't believe that we may have something positive to say about Man United, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. We kick off, as always, with our post-net last one standing competition. And heading into week 8, we had 19 entries. 6 were successful on Notts Forest, 5 on Tottenham, 4 Man United, 2 fortunately sneaked through on Man City, and 1 on Leicester City. The unfortunate entrant was on Newcastle United, who never turned up. Of the guys going, or of the people going through, 2 ladies survived. Our defending champion, Tracy Anderson, while Kerry Varga sneaked through on Notts Forest. 3 internationals remain. Former champion Derek Ramsey, Steve Griffiths, and my brother Stephen Burns. Still can't believe it, but anything's possible. Our other remaining entrants are Paulo De Carmo, Mark Jackson, Mark McManus, Jeremy Fleming, Brad Giorgio, Jeff Scrooby, Graham Hawkins, Dean Grove, former champion Gavin Wright, Dave O'Connor, Paul Lafferty, another mystery man late in the competition, Mark Marinkovitz, and our toad favourite, Butch Fitzgerald. What is interesting, I've had a look at the betting going into week 9, and 3 can use Aston Villa, 3 Tottenham, 4 Brentford, 8 can use Chelsea. We have 1 entrant that can use Liverpool, which could be a tough task, but all 18 can surprisingly use Brighton. So guys, please, 12 o'clock Saturday is closing time unless you want to use the Friday game. I don't see many of you using, but you never know. And last but not least, our second competition of the season starts next Saturday. So for the guys that want to enter, get studying, because it's the hardest first round I've seen since we started the competition. Gav, who would you be on if you had to be on of all those?
I think our favourite's always going to be in the front there with these multiple picks. I think that's the guy.
Yeah, no one's got multiple picks. So
all down to singles.
Yeah, all one it. So anyway,
it becomes a bit of a lottery now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Home teams, back to home teams.
Anyway, on Tuesday we had some great Champions League results. And Steve, which game did you watch?
Well, I sort of was able to sort of watch a couple. So I had one on the Ultimate Channels. But very good week for the English teams.
Yeah.
4 wins, and when you look at that table, the top 3, Villa, Liverpool and City. Yeah. So and even Arsenal just below the top 8. So a very good week for them.
Yeah, I must say. Steve, just before we go into the results, everyone's talking about the top 4, but the way it's going in Europe, it looks like England may get another team in the Champions League. Just the way it's going with...
Yeah, if that happens, then obviously that's... it means that, an extra team in Europe altogether. So there's a lot to play for when you think it could go down to about 8th place. Yeah. So it's a lot to play for. I mean, obviously, when you look at the Premier League table at the moment, you can see the big few will start to pull away. But I think there's hope for sort of other teams, and certainly the way that Villa played last year. But certainly in Europe this week, I thought Arsenal made heavy weather of it. It looked like they were going to cruise at one point, but they'll be happy with the win. But I don't think that was overly convincing.
Yeah, I didn't watch much of the Aston Villa game. I was watching the Real Madrid Dortmund game. Gav, you obviously watched that.
Yeah, I watched the Madrid game, but first off, I didn't know what was going on. I thought Madrid has come back to win the game quite easily, and then the game turned and Dortmund all over them. And then second half, they turned it around.
Steve, what did you think?
Well, it's not the first time that Real have done that. I mean, when they stepped up a gear, and I saw the highlights, and it was almost like they were cutting through the Dortmund defence at will. Yeah. I think they were sort of shell shocked at half time, but in the end, I think Dortmund's are the ones that were shell shocked. I mean, Vinicius. I mean, that was a hat trick in no time at all. So look, they've shown what they're capable of, and I think they are, without doubt, sort of one of the favourites again.
The only concern with them, see, they played Modric and 5 attacking players, and when it was 2-0, The Dortmund coach took an attacking player off to play 3 centre halves, and then the tide came in. And when the tide came in, it was worse than a tsunami. And some of the goals they scored were superb. But that German manager, he needs his head reading, and I'm sure the press would have been on his case Wednesday morning. Man City comfortable, Steve?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I watched that as well, and again, they sort of making heavy weather of it in the first half. Missed a lot of chances, but the second half, I just think they run out of steam. Sparta Prague and City, very comfortable. They had pretty much 80% possession. It was a bit of a cruise in the end.
I see Haaland, he didn't take the penalty going for the hat-trick. Later on, he gave it to Nunes. Not that I was watching it, because we were watching. I couldn't believe that.
I think he's just smutsing, Budge. I think he's just smutsing that whole Man City team.
Yeah, I'll give someone a goal.
I think as well. Look, I mean, he scored so many goals. He scored so many hat tricks already that I don't think it'll make a huge difference. But if you saw his first goal, that sort of acrobatic, I mean, he sort of managed to get his foot higher than most people. Where their head is. It was unbelievable. But in the end, it was very comfortable. And as I said, Sparta Prague had actually come into the game, with a win and a draw. You can't see them going far in the competition, but they made a game of it in the first half. The goalkeeper played well, but ultimately, and then I'm obviously watching the Liverpool game as well. Weathered a little bit of pressure early on, but very good win. Leipzig are a strong side at home. I think that was a very good performance.
Gav, what do you think Wednesday?
Yeah, no, I thought that you can't go to the Etihad and concede in the first minute. You're backed up against it. Now you're going to try and change your game plan a bit and try and not concede a second. And they did pretty well. They held them out. But once the gates open with City, that's their ruthless. They don't take the foot off the pedal. They'll get 5, 6, 7. They don't play just to win 2-0.
Well, I took a double. Harry Kane to score any time and Haaland to score first. When it was third minute, I saw Phil Foden. That was the end of my bet. But the game that I watched, Steve, Gav, I'll ask you, Barca Bayern, because I know you watched that game.
Yeah, Barcelona, just attacking force, just unbelievable. But they hit you so quickly on the break. They do keep the ball. Sometimes they overplay the tic-tac soccer. But when they hit you on the break, they got pace. And Rafinha, for once, had a really terrific game. Hat-trick, very good team. Go close to winning the tournament.
Yeah. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, again, I saw the highlights, and when it was 1-1, I thought, okay. But Barcelona, finished, very strong and dominated. I thought, from what I saw from the highlights, and I think that again they put a bit of a marker down. They've not been the force they have been in the past, but they've got some good young players there, and I think they're going to go far as well in the competition. Yeah,
if they can get the back four sorted out, they've got a great chance. But what amazes me is Man United spent 70 million on 2 defenders, De Ligt and Mazzari, and they couldn't get into that Bayern Munich back four. And let me tell you, those guys don't want to defend. They are absolutely terrible. You can see the difference in the leagues because Bayern Munich defensively had no idea to what was going on. But anyway, good luck to them. Couple of games tonight. Big game, Gab, I'll ask you. Jose Mourinho, Fenerbahce against Man United.
But we're on the road again, so I don't know, it's going to be a shaky road. If we come out with any type of results, it'll be a good result for us. I mean, I'm hoping that last week can be a bit of a turning corner for us, but you never know with United at the moment. 1 minute they're good, next minute they're poor. Counter-attacking. Well, what I did like last week, we didn't play too much from the back. Yeah. The keeper got the ball, bypassed the defenders over, straight to the striker. We played from there. Yeah. Takes away all that negativeness and the pressure off the defenders.
Yeah, totally agree. What do you think, Steve? United get another result?
Well, I think they need to get something. Interesting enough, I think at Fenerbahce have got Fred and Amrabat in their midfield. Oh. So they're going to be pretty, they're going to know what United are about and be pretty determined. So I think it'll be a tough game. Yeah. I think if United, it's never easy to win in Turkey. I think if United get the points out there, it's not the worst result.
Yeah, got to agree. As long as you don't get defeated. The other game is Tottenham AZ Alkmaar. Tottenham, I'm sure, going to make a million changes from the weekend. They should be too good for AZ Alkmaar. And an interesting one, Panathinaikos hosting Chelsea. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, again, there'd be a very boisterous, lively crowd in Greece, as there are, big side Panathinaikos. But again, Chelsea will make changes. We know that, but their squad is so strong that I think that they'll go there and get a result.
Yeah, I've got a fancy. I know Cole Palmer.
I just worry about the English teams going and playing away from home. Their setup and their formation, their teams doesn't match the Premier League setup. And they try and play for the draw first, and then they try and catch a bit of a win at the end. And these teams aren't too bad. The Dutch teams have shown that they're good. PSV have done well, Feyenoord have done well, so we mustn't go there and think that's going to be an easy game for them.
Yeah, I just think in the Europa League and the Europa Conference League, when you have a look at the teams, there's not many good teams in both competitions. So wherever Chelsea finish in the league, it's not going to make much difference. I think there's only, is it Fiorentina and one other Spanish team that are going to give them a game. The rest are really lesser nations. And even the Europa League, when you have a look at the betting, Man United are third and Spurs are favourites, Atletico Bilbao. So there's no real major. In the Champions League, it's a different ball game because, you want to get seeded. But in the other two competitions, I think it's a lot weaker. Anyway, on to the Premiership for the weekend, and strangely, we have a Friday game. Steve, is this a derby, Leicester versus Notts Forest?
It is, yeah. It's an East Midlands derby, and no love lost, and considering you've also got Steve Cooper at
That's right.
Leicester.
Yeah.
So, and Leicester have picked up, a couple of wins. I think a lot of people thought they were going to be whipping boys, and they pulled themselves away from the bottom three. Forest have had a great start. Interesting that Forest played the Monday night game, now having to play the Friday night game. But again, they haven't really got to travel. It's pretty close, sort of an hour down the road at most. So, no, I think there'll be a close game. For me, I think Forest are probably slight favourites. I mean, they've only had the one defeat, and that was at Fulham at home. But otherwise, they've done well on the road.
Yeah, Gav, how you see it?
Great betting game, Budge. 15-10, 18-10, the two. I mean, if you really want to put your head down and have a bet, you can make some money. But for me, the game's got to draw it and all over it. I think maybe both teams to score as well. It looks like a tightish type game. Mediocre teams who really just put the effort in the fight.
Yeah.
So for me, I think maybe the draw is the right result.
Yeah, if I was going to have a bet on Leicester, it would be to score first. I expect them to come out the blocks a lot quicker. Yeah, Notts Forest had a physical game on Monday night, a little bit fortunate with a goal, to beat Crystal Palace. But Leicester will come flying out. But Notts Forest haven't lost away from home. I think it's 6, and they did win at Anfield. So they'll be trying to play on the break. But if I was going to have a bet, it would be Leicester City to score first at 11-10. Second bet, Steve, I can't believe the betting. Aston Villa 9-10 at home against Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think those are decent odds, maybe because they played midweek. And Bournemouth had a good win against Arsenal. But I having seen sort of Villa last week, in patches they played very well at Fulham. I think we masters of our own downfall a bit, but I think I think Villa are clear favourites at home. I think they've got most of their players back from injury now, and I think that they should win that.
Gav, what do you think? 9-10?
Sure, 9-10 is a big price, Budge. I thought Villa must be the most informed team in the world at the moment. Doing really well. Managers really got the players going well. And if you look at Bournemouth, I mean, our Soccer 13 paid R5 million last week, and then Bournemouth beating Arsenal. So it shows you what a big upset that was. So I would think Aston Villa is very good value at 9-10.
Yeah, definitely. There's just something amiss. I took the easy way. I went over 2.5 goals, both teams to score, yes. Just now, Aston Villa, they get wound up. Remember, they drew with Man United 0-0 and Bruno hit the bar. But that goalkeeper, Steve, talking about last week, why Pereira and stopped with that penalty. Just run and hit it. That he stopped. And that was the biggest thing. I'm sure you must have been puking at the stadium. But got a fancy Villa, but I'm going the other way. I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score, yes. Shade under 9-10. Also can't believe Brentford, Steve. They look an absolute sitter to beat Ipswich. Do you agree?
Yes, although Ipswich have sort of, they've lost a couple of games, but, they do make themselves hard to beat. And, scored, they haven't won yet, got a few draws. I think Brentford certainly are going to be favourites at home, but I don't think you could write off Ipswich. I think you can see them scoring. I think there'd be goals, but Brentford should be favourites to edge it.
Yeah, Gav?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I wouldn't even go further and say that Brentford win comfortably in this game. I think they're a nice team. They played well last week against United. They showed enough character there. I think they'll win this game comfortably. Yeah,
I went Brentford. Ipswich always are capable of scoring. They always have a go away from home. They've scored at the Etihad against Man City. 22-10. Brentford to win and both teams to score. That's my suggestion. Another team that look hard to oppose, Steve, is Brighton. Yeah, they beat Spurs and they won at Newcastle last week. At home against struggling Wolves, surely they've got to win that.
Yeah, well, you would think so. If you look at results in the last couple of games, you would think that they should. Wolves, I mean, obviously sat back a lot, but defended very well against City, much better than they had in their previous game away at Brentford. But Brighton should be buoyed. I mean, they've a couple of really big wins to beat Tottenham and Newcastle in sort of consecutive matches, and I think they'll certainly be favourites.
Yeah, Gav, how do you see it?
I feel for Wolves, Budget. I think they do enough in games to get results, or at least take the points in games, and they're getting beat. The manager has got them set out really well. But Brighton at home, pass the ball around well, quick up front. Danny Welbeck's actually scoring goals, surprisingly. But yeah, the Brighton team is a very good side. I think
Welbeck came off with a back injury. He's a doubt. My only concern with Brighton is at home. We've seen it. They drew at home with Ipswich. I'm going the other way. Last week, I thought there was a red card in the Aston Villa-Fulham game. There were two. I think this is a red card waiting to happen. Wolves are going to be fired up. The over 5.5 bookings, 11-10. That'll be in one of my bets, but got to fancy Brighton. But this Wolves team's going to get a little bit lucky one of these weeks. And it wouldn't surprise me, even though Brighton look absolute sitches on current form. But I'm going the other route. I'm going the red card at 4-1. Steve, the one stat I couldn't believe, Man City versus Southampton. They've conceded in their last 8 home league games, Man City. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it's surprising, although I got a feeling if this is going to be the game they don't concede, I think Southampton are going to find it the struggle. City have got a few injuries.
Yeah.
We know that. And actually, when you looked at the squad last night, he actually didn't have a full bench. Yeah. They only had 2 goalkeepers and 5 outfield players. Yeah. He's got quite a few players out, although he could sort of put a few youngsters on, but he didn't. Well, I think City should win this comfortably. Southampton, try to play football and try to play out the back, and that isn't working for them. And they probably threw away points last week against Leicester. I mean, that was a shocking goal to give away in the 93rd minute. But I think City will be too strong, and I think they'll win comfortably.
Gav, how many?
Over 3.5 goals, Budge. Got to go over 3.5, maybe over 4.5 goals in this game.
3.5, over 3 is 7-10, over 4.5 is 16-10. I'm going to give you the bet of the weekend. Erling Haaland to score first at 23-10. I couldn't believe that when I looked last night, so I've had a couple of rand on that. On to our second page, and we've got your Fulham boy, Steve. Terrible to get the centre-half sent off last week, and I think he could be crucial at Goodison against Everton.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, I only saw this yesterday, we created a Premier League record. We're the first team in the history of the Premier League to miss a penalty, score an own goal, and get a red card. So, against a good side, no wonder we lost. But we'll definitely miss Joachim Andersen. We'll miss his calmness at the back. Look, I think that the betting's a bit skewed here. Everton, 2 wins and a draw without conceding a goal in the last 3 games. Yeah. I think this is going to be a tough game for us without Sasha Lukic as well as the holding midfielder. So I would be very happy with a draw. I'd be very surprised if we got anything more than that. And I think Everton, for me, probably starts as favourites.
Yeah.
Well, Everton will come out firing, Budge. They've picked up their game a little bit, but Everton for me, I don't have Everton to win this game. I have a draw. I think I'm quite certain this game will end in a draw. I think Fulham will come there. They'll keep the ball for long periods. Everton will chase it. Fast, high-tempo game, maybe another red card, but a draw, I can't see anything other than a draw,
Yeah, I think there's bookings in this. I think this will be fiery. There was no corner odds. I got a little bit of money last night backing teams for corners. And one thing about Everton, everything is long, everything is direct. So I'm hoping 4.5, 5.5 is the Everton corner market. So that would be my suggestion. But I agree, Steve. If you take a point, it will be a good result. 2 strange teams play on Sunday, Chelsea, Newcastle. How do you see it going, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, it's strange. I mean, Chelsea obviously stronger away from home. They came unstuck at Liverpool, but gave them a good game. At home, they just don't seem to be firing, I think, because teams maybe sit back a little bit. Yeah. Newcastle, they're not the team of a couple of seasons ago, and that was a disappointing result for them last week. They're capable of getting something at Chelsea, but I just think Chelsea, for me, should start as favourites.
Gav?
Chelsea 100%, Budge. I think Chelsea will win this game. Newcastle, they will come to play. They'll get stuck in, but I think Chelsea up front, too much pace. I think they're a little bit more creativity. I think they might rest a few players during the week. So I think they'll be fresh and they'll come and they'll win this game.
Yeah, Palmer's not playing tonight. Well, my concern with Newcastle is Dan Burner's playing centre half, and that Jackson and those Chelsea boys up front, they can gallop and play. I know at the back they do tend to give away stupid goals like the second goal against Liverpool, but Newcastle I worry at the back. But one thing it should be in this game is goals. Next team, just can't believe they haven't won a game this year, Steve. Crystal Palace. The frustration I could just see in a couple of those players. This is a difficult task against Spurs.
I think it is, and so what my take and what I understand is happening a little bit is Oliver Glasner has fallen out with a few players, including the guy who was scoring all the goals at the end of last season, Mateta, and I don't think that's helping. There seems to be a bit of an undercurrent of a difficult atmosphere there, and I think the bookies have got him as one of the favourites to go. They can't buy a win. When you think of the way they finished last, something like 7 wins in their last 8, and here they are, 8 games in without a win against a Tottenham team that score goals. For me, I'm thinking unless Palace can change, the way they've been playing, I think Tottenham will go there and get a result.
Gav?
Yeah, Tottenham for me, but I think they have a good side. I had a good bet on them last week. I thought they were a good value at 5 to 10 last week.
Yeah.
I think even better value this week at 8 to 10. A really struggling Crystal Palace team. Not anywhere near where they were last year. Last year, Palace were feared when you went to their ground. But something missing this year. I think Spurs got this game comfortably.
Yeah, they've only scored 5 goals, Crystal Palace. Last year, I think they put 4 past Man United. I know that. So I think Spurs are absolute sitters. I think this game's going to boil over for Crystal Palace. There'll be plenty of bookings at 9 to 2, a red card. Will have my money, but 8 to 10 for me all day, Tottenham Hotspurs. Gav, I'll start with you. Man United at West Ham. What do you think?
Well, Europa during the week and then off to West Ham in a nice big park. Big crowd. It'll be a really, really good atmosphere at this game. United, I'm just waiting for that spark to turn, but it just doesn't seem to get into gear, and the manager's consistently under pressure.
Yeah.
And it's got to translate into the players, because every time you pick up a magazine, you read it's about the manager getting fired or players not worth their value. So it's difficult to work in conditions like that. But, we just have something different to what West Ham have.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that'll be the result for us to get over the line. I think 13 to 10 could be a good bet to be taking a few small doubles and trebles.
Steve, how do you see it?
Yeah, look, United have got a tough game tonight and can't sort of rotate too much. Not a happy hunting ground going to West Ham for them in recent seasons. And, although West Ham themselves are not playing well, I thought they were poor in the second half at Tottenham. This is a game they're normally up for. I think if United got a point, I think they should be quite pleased with themselves.
Yeah, this could go either way. For me, my biggest concern playing West Ham is they've got a few of these Langoustines that come in at the far post, and I won't have it, but if someone asks me anytime goal scorer, that Thomas Souček at 4 to 1, he's dangerous, that guy. But you never know with United. Hopefully he plays Højlund. I'd love him to play Xerxes up front as well and have a go. Keep Rashford on the right. Play Garnacho on the left. I know he's going to be up against Wan-Bissaka, so he's going to be under pressure. But at least get behind the wingers and get balls into the box. That was a difference last week. Play the left back too. That Argentinian's got to play left back, Steve. We're playing Luke Shaw and Dalot out of position. Just play a solid back 4. Johnny Evans could be out, so you never know. But just play a solid back 4. Casemiro, I don't know if Agate be fit. You play 2 holding midfield players and have a go. That's my suggestion. But this game could go either way. And the big game, Steve, Arsenal-Liverpool. Can't believe Liverpool are 23 to 10.
No, me neither, especially with Arsenal have got, it's sounding like Calafiori, he could be out, as well as, obviously, you've got Saliba who got sent off.
Yeah.
With Timber out, Odegaard, maybe Saka. I think Arsenal, have got just 1 or 2 more key injuries than they would like. And I just got a feeling Liverpool are on a roll at the moment, and I think this is the sort of game they could go and, not many teams win at the Emirates, but I've just got a feeling, for me, the way Liverpool are playing, I think they could sit back and catch Arsenal and cause a bit of an upset.
Yeah, a lot of defensive problems for Arsenal at the moment, but I don't think they've had this type of injury crisis at the back for about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
At Liverpool, devastating. I just sat on the TV last night saying, when are they going to lose? I mean, they just keep firing and finding results. But I think this game is going to end in a draw. I think Liverpool won't be as forward-thinking in their game plan as they normally are in this game. I think Arsenal will also be worried about their back four, so I think they're going to cancel each other out.
Yeah,
I'm going to go for the draw.
6-10 Liverpool to win a draw. They've only lost one game this year in all competitions. That was Notts Forest. Arsenal, I don't know, having watched them live against Tottenham, they were lucky. I'm not in love with the way they play, Steve. And Liverpool's back four push hard. They're playing well, Konate and Van Dijk. So I think this is a difficult task for Arsenal, but I agree. I think the draw is the right play.
I think Liverpool will be the biggest threat to Man City this year. I don't think it'll be Arsenal. I think Arsenal will fall away this year.
Yeah.
I think Aston Villa could take the third place. So I think Liverpool will be the only challengers to Man City.
Well, that's what it looks like at the moment. But, one result for Arsenal and anything's possible. On to the Championship, and we've got a Friday night game. Portsmouth-Sheffield Wednesday, Steve. Portsmouth are really struggling. I need them to score Tuesday night to land a nice bet. Apparently it wasn't even close. Can they get back against Sheffield Wednesday?
Oh, look, they got to win last weekend, which
Yeah,
they their first win of the season. But they're still bottom, and Sheffield Wednesday, don't travel very well. I think draw probably going to be the result. Portsmouth capable of getting a result. I think it's, probably give them confidence winning at QPR. But for me, I think a draw probably favourite here.
Yeah, I just don't see Sheffield Wednesday losing, but 13-10, I wouldn't back them with somebody else's money. Should be a good game, Steve. Bristol City versus Leeds United. I think we got it on ESPN. I fancy Leeds United here. I was really impressed against Sheffield United. They beat Watford reportedly comfortably on Tuesday night. I think they'll go to a Bristol City side who are unbeaten for a long time at home, but I fancy Leeds United. I think 8-10 is not a bad price. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. The Leeds have had a very good week. 2 good wins. Very, very big win against Sheffield United, who were previously unbeaten. And 2 up after sort of no time at all. Sat back a little bit, I understand, against Watford, but comfortable in the end. I fancy them going there, getting a result. And, they're not far off the top at the moment.
Yeah, they'll go very close, Steve. I was impressed with what I saw. Coventry City versus Luton Town, Steve. 2 out-of-form sides. Which way do you see it, though?
Yeah, Coventry very much out of form. I think they've had a couple of wins at home. Otherwise, they would be sitting rock bottom themselves. Yeah. Luton had a big win last weekend, beating their rivals Watford, but well beaten at home last night by Sunderland. So to me, I think I could see a draw. I think that Coventry at home is where they are strongest, and Luton haven't travelled very well. So again, both teams having a very disappointing season. I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel each other out, though. Yeah,
if I was having a bet, I'd be taking shade under 8-10 both teams to score. But Coventry, to think a couple of months ago they nearly knocked Man United at the semi-final of the FA Cup. Now they 1 out of 9. So suggest 5-2 the draw looks the likely result. Watford, Steve, away from home, woeful. At home, unbeatable. 14-10 against a Blackburn team who struggle on the road. Is that worth an interest?
Probably is. As you say, Blackburn really strong at home. Don't do well on the road, and Watford the other way round. 2 defeats this week, but at home, they're relatively strong. Although they've slipped up the odd occasion. Yeah. I think if there was to be a winner, I would certainly go for Watford.
Yeah, Watford. Blackburn drew 0-0 at home. Great home form with West Brom 0-0 last night. So fancy Watford 14-10, even though their away form is putrid. On to our second page, and Burnley QPR. Back Burnley last night. They conceded in the first half, equalised just before the 80th minute. I thought they'd go on to win it, but Hull, winning at Hull isn't easy. Surely they've got to rebound against a struggling QPR side.
Well, you would think so. I mean, QPR, picked up earlier in the season. They had a good draw at Sheffield United, but otherwise it's been a very disappointing season. They managed to claw back and get a point at home to Coventry the other night. But for me, I think Burnley got to be odds-on favourites for this. Yeah, Burnley
to win an over 2.5 total goals was 18-10. So I've had a few rand on that. Derby, another team that are woeful away from home, but I think it's Pride Park now. Great home form, Steve. Can you see them upsetting Hull City?
They can do. At home, they are very strong. As I say, they've won most of their home games. It's away where they struggle. Yeah. Hull have been a little bit up and down. I thought they had a couple of good wins, but they've been sort of pegged back a bit. I think that if there was to be a winner, I would go with Derby, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel each other out.
Yeah, score draw could be the likely result. Plymouth, a struggling Wayne Rooney team. We saw him sitting in the stand the other day when they got beat 5-0 by Cardiff. Can they upset my Preston boys?
They can do, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if Preston had a reasonable week, if Preston gets something there. But if Plymouth are going to stay up, it has to be their home form, because away they've been poor. I mean, conceding 5 at Cardiff, lost last night at Millwall, conceded early and never really got back in the game. But, I think, again, I can't see Preston losing this. I think they could go there and maybe get a result. But again, I think it's going to be, for me, a low-scoring game.
Well, my brother was at the Preston Coventry game on Sunday. He said we deserved to win, even though our keeper made a last-minute stay. But 2-0 up against Norwich. Apparently, we try to play out from the back. Why this modern-day philosophy, try and play football when you're going into half-time, amazes me. And we got caught on the break. But apparently it was a fair result against Norwich, and they one of the informed sides. So you just never know away from home. But Plymouth have to go for it, Steve. I think there's goals in this. One thing about Rooney's team at home, they're going to have a go. And if they don't get a result here, they're going to be in serious trouble. But as a Preston fan, I would take the draw. Sheffield United, Steve, I don't know whether that George Baldock, him dying, I watched half of their players in the pre-game against Leeds United, and half of them didn't look like they were mentally up for it. Last night they got beat last minute. It was on ESPN. I'll watch it later on today. But it won't be easy against a struggling Stoke City side.
No, I think you're right. Although, again, they've had a couple of tough games away, and they played okay in the first half against Leeds, but Leeds in the end just too strong. I think that they will be favourites. Stoke, you never know what you're going to get with Stoke. They really are up and down. Last weekend they were 2 up and cruising, and then conceded a couple in about 5 minutes to Bristol City. So for me, I think Sheffield United get ahead. I think they'll win that. Yeah,
be good just to get there. But there were 2 away games, but against Leeds second half, they got slaughtered. Anyway, on to our final page. Sunderland, top of the league against an improving Oxford United. Sunderland, another 3 points, Steve?
I think so. They've had a really good week away from home, and I think that they'll be too strong. Oxford themselves really good at home, but they struggle away on the road, and I would be really surprised if Sunderland don't win this comfortably.
Yeah, I think Oxford will score. That Dane Scarlett from Spurven, they did burgle an injury time equaliser against West Brom. So I think they'll score, but Sunderland to win and both teams to score was 5-2. Does look the right play. Swansea City, Steve, I can't believe it. Of the 11 games, they've only scored 8 goals. I thought they'd have a good season. Against a Millwall side, also don't score too many goals. Which way would you side?
Yeah, again, Swansea, one of these teams, they try and play football, but it's they just don't have the players that they did in previous years. I think this would be a tough game for Swansea, but I've just got a feeling if there was to be a winner, Millwall don't travel particularly well. I think this would be a low-scoring game, but I just have a feeling Swansea might just edge it.
Yeah, I might agree with that. Now, ever since I tipped West Brom, I think, to automatic challenges, they've won 1 in 6. I can't believe it. They can't score a goal. I think it's 3 goals in the last 6 games. Cardiff City are improving, Steve, under the new boss. They've won 3 of the last 4. Can you see an upset here?
Look, as you say, they've won 3 in the last 4, but I still think that West Brom are going to be there or thereabouts, particularly probably a playoff side. But I think that they'll come good. I think this will be a close game, but I just fancy West Brom to nick it.
I just wish Corberan would just open it up and have a go. Trying to keep it tight at the back and win 1-0 doesn't work. Not in the Championship. They should win, but it's when you've done your money on them a couple of times, there's nothing worse. And last but not least, Sunday's game, Steve. I'll be taping this because there's bigger games on the Premiership. Norwich Middlesbrough. I fancy goals here. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. This will be a good game. I mean, Norwich, they're both sort of, there or thereabouts around, hovering around the playoff position. Good win from Middlesbrough during the last night, and Norwich, got themselves a good point away in the end. I think Norwich will start favourites. I think there will be goals. You could see something like a sort of a 3-1 or 3-2. I think that'll be a decent game, but I fancy Norwich at home.
Yeah, very strong at home. But Michael Carrick, people were questioning him the other day. A couple of good results and, definitely goals. I think there's over 2.5 goals is even money, so that's my suggestion. Steve, pressure time as always. I need your best bet and value bet.
Yeah, I'm going to go Premier League this week, and I'm going to go for Villa as my best bet.
Yeah.
I just think that they're on a bit of a roll. I mean, don't lose many. Only it's in the opening game of the season.
Yeah.
And my value bet, I'm going to go for Liverpool. I just think that 23-10, I think it was, seems fairly generous for a team sitting top of the table and won all but one of their games. And I know that it's Arsenal, but I just think with Arsenal's injuries, I think that Liverpool got half a chance here.
Yeah, if they can absorb the first half an hour, because the Gunners will come flying out there like they normally do. Then Liverpool, they've started off slowly all season, so I agree. I think 23-10 is a decent price, but you never know with one or two of the injuries. I'm sure they may shorten slightly in the betting. Steve, thanks as always, and we'll speak over the weekend.
Cheers. Bye, Gav.
Cheers, Steve.
All right, on to the PSL. Couple of games. Gav, I watched Pirates Supersport. They're struggling, Gavin's team.
Yeah, they're battling, but Supersport really misfiring. Defensively, they got problems. Up front, they got problems. Gavin's just moaning at the referees all the time, and the opposition team is not helping the team. They need to come back and look at themselves and have a go again.
I don't know whether they're not playing it in Pretoria, so they're playing, I think it's at Polokwane, Petersburg. But the first goal, ball over the top, they got caught. Bang,
Square.
And Pirates were all over them. Could have been 3 or 4, but they're in trouble. Sundowns 2, Royal AM 1, obviously with the early kickoffs. Royal AM gave them a game.
Yeah, but Sundowns just in cruise mode, Budge. I think the biggest worry for them is just to get the players up for the game, because they know that they're good players. They know they've got the league under control. They've got cup competitions under control. So how do you keep them motivated each week? And some of these games like Golden Arrows and Magasi, they come with a bit of lackluster energy, and then
also he's mixing and matching his players. Got such a deep squad.
Yeah, he's got a deep squad. I mean, they're really a terrific side.
Yeah, and Chipper, I was actually hoping to watch this. Chipper 0, Stellenbosch 2.
Stellenbosch, for me, it's a 3-horse race with Pirates, Sundowns, and Stellenbosch. I think Stellenbosch, I watched them when they came to Durban. They played with a lot of width.
Yeah.
They got a nice balance in their team, and I like that about them. And they got a lot of pace up front.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the middle of the park, they lack a few creative passes, but really play with a lot of commitment. I think they're going to win a lot of games this year.
Steve's done a good job. Maybe like his uncle, he could be one of the future Bafana coaches. Anyway, let's head on to the PSL fixtures. And Friday, another game for Pirates at home against AmaZulu.
Pirates too good for me, Budge, for AmaZulu. AmaZulu will come there. They have improved AmaZulu.
Yeah.
But I'm just worried that the manager and the owner is trying to change coaches all the time because you don't get results. You've got to let the coach get a bit of time to settle the team down and play. And they have improved AmaZulu, but Pirates at the moment, at home, big crowd supporting them.
They got beat 3-2 by Magesi. I couldn't believe it. Even though they should have got a penalty in the last minute, the ref chickened out. I think AmaZulu will score. I watched them lose 3-1 at Chiefs. And they played well at home at Mozambique. I've actually been impressed with AmaZulu. But unfortunately, going to Pirates, especially after that defeat. But the bet is 17-10, both teams to score. I couldn't believe that when I saw that. I know Pirates should win, but Tuesday night, maybe they'll be a little bit flat, give AmaZulu a chance. They take it. That's my suggestion, 17-10. Maruma Gallants, Bloemfontein, they bought Swallows against TS Galaxy, a team that don't travel. Great chance for the home team.
Yes, Maruma Gallants will win this. They had a nice victory against Polokwane last week. 3-2. They came from behind to win the game. Nice balanced team as well. At home, hard to beat. Travelling teams to get there. It's always a long bus ride. But I think Gallants will win this comfortably.
You know who the manager is? Your old teammate.
Yes.
Dan my man, Malasele. So hopefully Dan,
player.
my man, get a good job. And I'm glad for Bloemfontein. I spoke to both the main supports at Klaus Funeral. Good guy.
Yeah, very nice
guy. But the Bloemfontein deserve a team. So let's hope they do the fans justice. Royal AM haven't won this year. Harry Gwala against Sekukunu, who can't win away from home.
Yeah, it looks like a tight game, this, but low scoring game for me. Always under 2.5 goals for the PSL. Might just lean towards Royal AM to win this one.
Yeah, it's about time they did, but Haven't won this year. 2 games in Maritzburg. They've drawn them both, but 17-10. It's about time they did something. Richards Bay don't get beat too often in Mlazi. The only team that's beat them in 7 has been Orlando Pirates. Yeah. Can they upset Stellenbosch?
Well, I'm punting Stellenbosch to go close this year, but I'm leaning towards Stellenbosch at 15-10. I think good price. Richards Bay still lack a little bit of experience in the league, and I think Stellies will be all over them.
Yeah, they don't score many goals, Richards Bay. That's the only problem. And Stellenbosch won there on Friday night. On to our second page. I cannot believe the betting, and I checked this morning. Kaizer Chiefs, we've got it 15-10. This morning they are 18-10 to beat Supersport. There's got to be a misprint.
The amount of energy that's going around the country at the moment, the Chiefs are back.
They are.
And they thumped Supersport, I must say, the last time they played. I think that is an absolute steal. If there's anything over even money, I thought it would have been a good bet. At 15-10 is a steal. I think all the Kaizer Chiefs fans get on. I think it's a good price.
It was funny. The first time they played in Durban was 1975 at Nana Moses Mabhida. We played the curtain raiser. Couldn't believe it. Players chock-a-block. I always watch Chiefs, but they're good to watch, Gav. Serena's changed the team. A couple of young guys coming in. They play quickly going forward. Not like this tap, tap, tap. I think this is another hiding for Gavin. And I saw 18-10 today, and I'll be on shortly. Chipper United at P. Don't get beat too often. I know, I think Gavin's team, Steve's team went there and beat them, but surely they've got to beat Golden Arrows. Yeah,
they've one of those teams where the manager chopped and changed the coaches forever.
2 minutes.
It looks like they've settled down a bit now. A lot of rain down in the coast lately, so the pitch might be a little bit wet come the weekend still. Yeah. Golden Arrows, if you travel, never the best travellers. I think it's under 2.5 goals Chipper to win this one.
Yeah, I fancy Chipper, decent team. Cape Town City, Eric Tinkler's team against your old teammate.
Clinton Larson's got his boys playing, Budge. I mean, I was sitting in front of the TV, not thinking, what am I watching? They're 3-0 up against Pirates.
Yeah.
And they were playing well. They had Pirates on the run. They hung on to win 3-2. But they showed enough to tell me that he's doing a good job there.
Yeah.
They're getting the ball wide, getting his crosses, and they're getting 2-3 players attacking the ball. It's very good for a new team coming up. But they do have to travel again, and it's a long way for them to travel to Cape Town. The weather's anywhere on the rainy side of things. I'm all over Cape Town City. Yeah,
6-10 is short, but you've got to fancy them at home. And last but not least, Polokwane versus Sundowns. Big price, 7-10, Gav.
This is going to be a big game. Big crowd will come to this game, Sundowns, Polokwane. But Sundowns again, I mean, they play anybody out there and they just seem to get a result. Yeah. They've got so much talent.
Good players.
So much talent. They will miss their player that got injured for the Bafana.
Yeah.
I think Zwani, I think his name was. Very good player. They'll miss him in the middle of the park. But still, Sundowns got 3-4 players in every position. They should be too good.
Yeah. Hard to disagree. 7-10 Sundowns. Anyway, on to our Saturday soccer exotics. We start off with the soccer 6. First game, I'm going Maruma Gallants win and draw against TS Galaxy. The field in the Richards Bay Stellenbosch game looking for an upset, as well as Royal AM versus Sekhukhune United. I think Aston Villa will be too good for Bournemouth, and Brighton too good for Wolverhampton. I've thrown the draw in because I can do with a perm. Kaizer Chiefs to avoid defeat against Supersport United, 2-1-6. On to our second soccer 6. I'm going AC Milan win and draw in Bologna. The field in the Everton versus Fulham clash. Bayer Leverkusen to be too good for Werder Bremen away from home. Going with Chipper United win and draw against Golden Arrows. Atalanta to be too strong at home for Hellas Verona. And the field in the big game of the weekend in Spain. Real Madrid versus Barcelona, 2-1-6. On to the soccer 10. I'm going Maruma Gallants win and draw against TS Galaxy. The field in the Richards Bay versus Stellenbosch game. Royal AM and Sekhukhune, the field as well. Aston Villa to beat Bournemouth. Brentford to beat Ipswich Town. On to the second page, I'm banking Brighton to beat Wolves. Rayo Vallecano win and draw against Deportivo Alaves. St. Etienne in the French League win and draw at Angers. Going for Kaizer Chiefs to beat Supersport United, and AC Milan win and draw at Bologna, 2-88. On to the soccer 13 for Saturday. I'm going the field in the Everton versus Fulham match. A slew of bankers. Aston Villa to beat Bournemouth. Brentford to beat Ipswich. Brighton to beat Wolves. Man City to beat Southampton. Burnley to beat QPR on the field in the Derby versus Hull City fixture. Onto the second page, likewise, the field in the Plymouth Argyle Preston North End fixture. Sheffield United to beat Stoke, Sunderland to beat Oxford United, Swansea City win and draw at home against Millwall, West Brom to be too good for Cardiff City, and Wrexham win and draw at Charlton Athletic, 216 Rand. On to our budgies bets for the weekend. And first up in the Premiership, I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score, Aston Villa, Bournemouth. I'm going Brentford to beat Ipswich Town and both teams to score, and Erling Haaland to score first in the Man City versus Southampton game, 3,900 to 200. I'm changing it from the team goals. I'm going with the booking team, the referees throwing cards around like confetti. I'm going the red card in the Brighton versus Wolves game, and over 4.5 bookings in the Everton, Fulham and Crystal Palace, Tottenham Hotspur games, 3,700 to 200. Onto the Championship, I'm going Leeds United to beat Bristol City and over 1.5 goals. Burnley to beat Queen's Park Rangers and over 2.5 goals. And then over 2.5 goals, both teams to score on the Sunday game between Norwich City and Middlesbrough, 2,400 to 200. My both teams to score sides are Coventry City, Luton Town, Plymouth Preston, Sunderland Oxford United, and West Brom Cardiff City, 2,400 to 200. This week I'm doing a PSL bet. I'm going both teams to score in the Orlando Pirates versus Amazulu fixture, Kaizer Chiefs to beat SuperSport, and Mamelodi Sundowns to beat Polokwane City, 2,300 to 200. Now, Collis King 6 or Nixa. I'm going Brentford to beat Ipswich, Man City to beat Southampton, Tottenham to beat Crystal Palace, Burnley to beat QPR, Inter Milan to beat Juventus, and Kaizer Chiefs to beat SuperSport United, 5,800 to 200. Gav, you've never been shy for a punt?
That looks like quite a good bet, Budge. I think I might get onto that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a treble this weekend. I'm going to go with Brentford, Burnley, and Kaizer Chiefs local soccer.
Yeah, good prices.
Good value,
This
yeah.
can't believe Kaizer Chiefs. Maybe they're playing the reserve team, but 18 to 10 this morning looks a gift. Anyway, for all the guys in last one standing, just to reiterate, lunchtime is closing time, and remember, please stay on side.